Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. There's really no rhyme or reason to anything the news is offering us these days. It's just one big mishmash, kind of like my podcasts. It's almost been a year of doing this, and I'm still trying to discover my direction with them. But it's cool since we're hopefully enjoying the discussions we're having along the way. I'm going to look for more direction with them, and I hope to hopefully get some feedback from you guys on where you would think or would like me to go with them, but that all comes later because we've got some chatting to do. So with that, please sit back and enjoy the Ginescast number 45, The Consent Crossroads. Oh dear, now what? What's that you say? The 2020 election that's barely gotten started wasn't enough of a shit show? Now we're actually starting to pay attention to things that have been an open secret for years? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, you know what? In case you haven't heard, Democratic frontrunner and former Vice President Joe Biden is coming under fire recently after, first off, a former Nevada legislator named Lucy Flores accused him of inappropriate touching back in 2014. She wrote a piece for The Cut on March 29, 2019, where she detailed how Biden allegedly, quote, placed two hands on her shoulder before he, quote, leaned further in and inhaled her hair. He then, quote, proceeded to plant a big, slow kiss on the back of her head. And since Flores came out with her story, two more women have accused Joe of inappropriate touching. Nothing that they are quantifying as assault so much. It's just the sense that he did something that made me very uncomfortable. That's what the conversation is happening right now. This consent conversation about, I felt uncomfortable, I didn't know what to do, and, as Flores says, it's politics, and you kind of have to just put on a smile and keep going about your day. Now, I do, to some extent, believe Flores' story. I believe her retelling of events. Because, quote-unquote, Creepy Joe has been somewhat of a hushed whisper since he was first making waves in politics back in 2008. There was a mantra of calling him America's favorite uncle, even if once in a while he acted a bit too, touchy-feely about things. Nothing ever really came of it. It was kind of a thing that you would just see on, like, 4chan or the Donald subreddit of, oh, don't forget, Joe's a creepy guy. Joe went quietly on into the night, never really drawing attention to the moniker, and no one really particularly cared. But naturally, when accusations like this are brought to the forefront in current year 2019, we have to take a closer look at them, especially when it involves a Democrat. What was interesting about this story is that it's a Democrat calling out another Democrat. This is something I brought up in my last cast where I spoke to Brian Sharp, aka Hotep Jesus. The left is now calling each other out right now, something that I've wanted to happen for a very long time. And as long as the right doesn't point and laugh for too long, they'll be handling it better when their side inevitably follows. But the response to Joe's inappropriate touching is very strange right now because people are accusing Flores of being a Bernie plant since she did support him in 2016. They're showing off other pictures of Flores where Bernie's touching her shoulder or she had her hand on someone else's shoulder. You'd think that a side that championed this listen and believe, women mostly, when they come forward, or were huge proponents of the Me Too movement, that they'd actually listen to this woman's story instead of completely writing her off. That's a very conservative thing to do, leftists. I don't know why you'd want to be that, but have at it. Now, Joe Biden has responded, and of course he does not recall Flores' account, but he did note that he will listen going forward. Bravo, you did it, Joe. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Like I said, I do, to some extent, believe Flores' retelling. I can believe it. And the reason I believe it is because I've seen the pictures. I've seen videos of Joe looking like he was making people uncomfortable with his touching. There's been videotaped evidence of females in Biden's presence where they look visibly uncomfortable around him. And me being someone who does relate to people, I can relate to that feeling. I can physically hear the uncomfortability that people are feeling when your body language, when you're pulling away from someone and they're getting too close and they're invading your personal space, you don't know them very well, you're gonna pull away and you're gonna be uncomfortable. This is something that I think anybody can relate to, male or female. We all have personal boundaries. We all have personal space. We all have levels of how comfortable we are. And I do get that there are some people who are quite affectionate and, you know, have the thought that it's okay to touch somebody on the shoulder or grab their arm or sniff their hair. I don't know. I mean, that's weird to me. Even the Washington Post in a tweet called it Joe Biden's affectionate physical style. Is that wrong? No, it's not wrong. Is this something that's going to make conservatives go crazy? Yeah, it sure is. But here's the thing that I don't think conservatives are giving the benefit of the doubt here. Do I believe that Biden didn't even realize what he was doing was inappropriate? I sure as shit do. Like I said, I am not touchy-feely. I don't like when people invade my space. I have a bubble around me. If someone touches my arm, I kind of freak out a little bit. If I'm not giving off the vibe that's like, hey, invitation only, you know, then I get a little cagey and I just want to be left alone. But I do understand that there are people that just are that way. There was an episode of Girls where Hannah Horvath's boss would touch her and give her shoulder massages and pat her on the butt. And all the female employees, he would do this to all of them under the guise that, I'm just a feely guy. They let him do it because he's nice and he would let them come into work late. He would give them days off, etc. And he even called it out to Hannah and said, now you'll let me know if the touching bothers you, right? I get this whole idea. I get not wanting to think that someone you like a lot is being inappropriate or, dare I say, problematic. Here's what a few well-known celebrities said about Joe Biden's story that came forward. On The View, host Sunny Hostin said that Biden's response to the allegations were, quote, appropriate, but also said that, quote, I don't know if we'll be seeing any more smelling of hair and kisses, which is just so fucking ludicrous to say. So Whoopi Goldberg responded back and said, that pisses me off. I'm telling you, I don't want Joe to stop doing that. And if I had to guess what she meant by that, it's kind of like Joe being Joe, let Joe be Joe. Either way, it's a bit odd. And of course, I mean, The View is just a wealth of leftist talking points here. Meghan McCain defended Joe Biden, of course. She called him one of the truly decent and compassionate men in all of American politics. Also saying, quote, I wish there were more empathy from our politicians, not less. I mean, I understand that, but you can be empathetic without touching somebody. You can offer support, and you can, for all intents and purposes, be the Joe Biden that people are lauding here. But as far as being someone who feels the need to kind of nuzzle and kiss and grope in some manners, that's what it looks like anyway, then I don't see how that is okay. I don't see how that necessarily should be given a pass. Even if these women are saying in their accounts of what happened that they don't believe it was sexual. They have said that, and I honor that. I get that. Because I agree, I don't believe that they're sexual. I believe that they're just old man at younger person. I'm nice. Look how nice I am. Let me give you a kiss. I don't know you, but don't worry about it. It's weird. It's a generational thing. I understand that. But it's still a fun conversation to talk about right now because of the response. It's so crazy. I mean, here's what Mika Brzezinski from Morning Joe said. Mika said, quote, I think the next time I see Joe Biden and he doesn't hug me and give me a kiss and hold my hand while we're talking to you, that's the new Joe Biden. And that's not the Joe Biden I knew. Sounding almost devastated that she's not going to get a smooch. Well, okay, Mika, that's fine. But you know him on a level that a lot of people don't. If you're meeting somebody for the first time and they grab you and kiss you on the cheek, I mean, I don't know. I know that I personally would feel weird about that. I don't know how you would feel, but I think just in general, there's that golden rule of keep your hands to yourself until it's time to not. Now, of course, we would not be having this conversation if the online response was not a complete shit show. If both sides weren't acting like complete and utter dipshits. Let's get this all out on the table right here, right now, since so many people want to bring up that infamous Pussygate tape from the president. Let's take a look at Bill Kristol's tweet here. At Kellyanne Polls says, his party, quote, may have had a, quote, big problem with Biden's conduct. But what does it say about our party? That it has no problem with, quote, I did try and fuck her. She was married. I just start kissing them. I don't even wait. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. As if that's a fucking gotcha moment, Bill. I'm going on record here by saying what Donald Trump said in a private recorded conversation over a decade ago. It's gross. I think it's gross. I think it's weird that that level of guydom came out of a grown-ass man's mouth. Because that's a guy thing. It's not a man thing. A man doesn't really talk about women like that. A guy talks about pussy like that. It's different. I can't fathom that really because I can't understand what it's like walking around with a literal penis grafted onto my neck. I don't know what that's like. I know this isn't exclusive to how all guys feel, okay? I get that. But biologically speaking, it's the male who's gonna wanna walk around and spread his alpha seed across the world because, you know, we gotta keep the species going. And how do you do that? By grabbing him by the pussy. Only if they let you. If they let you. He said they let you do it. My God. Can we please remember that? Because we have a group of leftists out there who literally say the president admitted to sexual assault on tape, which is ludicrous to me. There's no admission of sexual assault. There are women out there. We know this. This is just a thing. And there's probably some guys out there too who get off on very powerful men. A guy who's got a shitload of money and a lot of power can do things that maybe the average Joe cannot. And there are women and guys out there who appreciate that on a level where they know that they can elevate themselves. I think we are fooling ourselves if we think that this does not exist. There are women that are going to let a guy who's maybe not the most attractive, wonderful guy in the entire world do things because they're going to get some cash money benefit out of it. I'm not judging. It is just a thing that happens. I just don't get this immediate vilification of people that in the media or online we're not supposed to like. Like Justice Kavanaugh, for example. All that shit show. I hate to what about here, but, you know, we're basically telling that this guy is a rapist. We're calling him a rapist for something that, you know, is not documented. Something decades ago. When the benefit of the doubt is given to the people we're told are good and pure in the world, you know, why is that okay? Why does no one notice these glaring contradictions right in front of your face? And we're noticing these things more. We're starting to take note of things. I was speaking with Kate Hyde from my podcast before. You can follow her on Twitter. I was speaking with her and we were talking about the Finding Neverland documentary. Me personally, I think it's shady. I think Michael Jackson has always been shady. I don't necessarily believe what is even being said in that documentary, and we were going back and forth about that. But we both did note that it was really fucking weird that in that documentary there was several video clips from news agencies of Michael Jackson literally running around with kids. He was just going from, he walked out of a limo with a kid next to him. Now that is objectively weird. That's weird. Was there not one photog who turned to his friend and said, dude, that's fucking, like, that's an 11-year-old kid he's wandering around with. What the hell's going on? It's weird. It's okay in this day and age to call something out that is just weird. And Joe Biden grabbing, like, a younger woman and sniffing her hair and nuzzling his face up to her, that's weird. It's weird. We're learning lessons all the time. I know that I am. And what I do, I don't judge anybody. I can't, because I got a whole lot of shit in my closet as well. But what I don't do is judge somebody on their past as we move forward and I see changes happening. I can know what has happened in the past and I can be mindful of it and kind of just keep it in the back of my mind. But I won't keep that in front of my face as a roadblock towards never listening to someone ever again. I think if we see creepy Uncle Joe being creepy Uncle Joe, maybe we can call that behavior out more often. Maybe if he's going to a rally and you see him grab a woman and nuzzle, then we can be like, Joe, fucking stop already. But you know what? I don't know. Maybe he'll reform his ways and stop being creepy just because he thinks he's being, quote, affectionate. Maybe it's not always about how you feel. Maybe we should take a page out of the leftist playbook and, quote, listen and believe, even when it doesn't suit us. That's not to say to act on blind faith and just believe everything that we see. It's more about letting people believe that you believe. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Just listen. Listen to people and listen to how they act. And if something isn't right or objectively weird, then I think we have the courage now to say so. Consent is so important. I know that there's that online right-sided group that kind of digs into internet feminists about consent, blah, 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 blah. But I think you're not going to do something if you really know that the person is not comfortable. You don't want to invade somebody in that way, because it can be taken to really, really disturbing and horrible levels. I think consent gets lost a lot of the time because it's awkward to even have that conversation. But I pray we're learning how to be better at communicating. That way we can just tell when someone's uncomfortable. And we're able to put someone else's needs ahead of ours, even if just for a second, to make sure everything is on the up and up. In the end, I don't believe this quote-unquote scandal with Creepy Joe is going to disqualify him from running for president. Just like I believed that the pussy grabbing incident that came out moments before the election did not disqualify President Trump from becoming president. What I am not okay with, and what I will never be okay with, is this rules for thee, not for me mindset that we've adapted. If we're going to give one person a pass, or I hate to keep saying it, but the benefit of the doubt, then why don't we apply that to everyone? And I'm not going to agree with conservatives who think it's fun to make fun of all the bullshit the left keeps stepping in right now. Because, like I've said, sooner or later the right's gonna have their own shit to deal with, and the left's gonna be the one pointing and laughing. And let's face it, the left is the one who gets the societal passes more than the right does. I don't get why, but there you go. Our scope has changed in 2019. We're seeing what isn't acceptable through many different lenses. Our application of that seems to be lacking, however. But I don't think it always has to be. I think we're getting there. I hope we're getting there. But in the meantime, what you should do, the golden rule, keep your paws to yourself unless you're given the go-ahead. And if someone is really messing you up, tell them to knock it the fuck off. As we learn these lessons, we're learning how to connect and stay connected more and more. And unfortunately, sometimes that means falling flat on your face or nuzzling the wrong nose one too many times before someone calls you out on your shit. I'll never not have high hopes for the world. I do like staying in the green, as the stock market has been showing us the past couple weeks. I'm still figuring out why it is I have to leave everything on a positive note. I haven't quite grabbed it yet. But maybe it's as simple as I haven't been given permission to grab it yet. And it's always best to ask before touching, because who knows? Maybe it's a bad touch and you'll pull back with less fingers, or a burn. But hopefully one day I will find that someone who lets me touch all aspects of them. Someone where the permission is granted without constantly talking about it. That's the ideal for me, and I keep chasing the ideal even though sometimes I shouldn't. Like I said, I'm not a touchy-feely person. What I am is touch and go with my feelings. And I hope that you'll keep letting me in with more episodes of the Ginescast. It comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and iTunes. If you like this video, please give it a like, please leave a comment below, and share it with someone you think would like it. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HelloGines or shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. I'm always open to hearing suggestions and obviously praise and criticism. Please bring them on. I want to hear everything. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina Annunziato, and I'll see you next time. Take care.